one day this nation will rise up, live out the true meaning of its creed. To be self-evident that all face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up, live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will they be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream. So even though we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up, live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all. So even though we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up, live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will they be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream. of today and tomorrow. I still have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up, live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all. So even though we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up, live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will they be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream. So even though we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up, live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all. So even though we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up, live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will they be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream. even though we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all. So even though we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream. So even though we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all. So even though we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream. one day this nation will rise up, live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all, so even though we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to encourage you to find your seats at this time. There'll be plenty of time to network and exchange business cards or QR codes and take pictures. So please find your seats at this time. gentlemen, we're ready to get started, but we need you to take your seats so we can begin. We ready. All right, this section is ready over here. This one, not so much. Oh, I got your attention now. Thank you. Please be seated. Find your seats. We'll have an opportunity to speak to everybody a little bit later. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm April Woodard, and I'm so delighted to be here to be your MC this evening for the 41st Annual Martin Luther King Jr. Awards, presented by the Urban League of Hampton Roads and hosted by the City of Virginia Beach. We are so, yeah, give it up for the City of Virginia Beach. Bobby D will be happy about that. We are so honored to celebrate 41 years of saluting Dr. King, not only on his birthday, January 15th, today the 16th, and also in anticipation of the national holiday on Monday, January 20th, commemorating his legacy. This year is particularly special as we transition from a breakfast to a dinner celebration. What do you think about the dinner? I love later than earlier, but either way, I love to celebrate. And we're grateful for your presence today. We are 1,300 people strong tonight celebrating Dr. King's legacy. Plus two, my besties are over in the corner. My husband, Pastor A, and my bestie, Dr. D. I am the co-host of Coast Live on WTKR on mornings at 10 a.m. Thank you so much. And I'm so excited about being your mistress of ceremonies. Now I'd like to invite you to rise for the presentation of colors by the Salem High School Navy Junior ROTC. the students at Salem High School, Navy's Junior ROTC. You may be seated. Thank you. As we mentioned, we are honoring the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., whose vision and leadership continue to inspire us. Dr. King's dream of a beloved community remains our guiding light as we honor leaders in Hampton Roads and Virginia who tirelessly make that dream a reality. I would like to recognize a few guests at this time. U.S. Congressman Bobby Scott, representatives from Senator Mark Warner's office, and representatives from Senator Kane's office are here. Thank you so much. I'd like to, at this time, invite all elected officials, elected and appointed officials, to stand to be recognized for your service, and thank you so much for your commitment to this community. Please stand. Thank you. You may be seated. Education, of course, is the cornerstone of the Urban League's mission, and we are so proud to welcome leaders from esteemed institutions. Please stand as I call your names. Norfolk State University, behold. Old Dominion University and Eastern Virginia Medical School. Virginia Wesleyan University. Tidewater Community College. Christopher Newport University. Hampton University. Virginia State University. Regent University. And Centura College. We'd also like to extend a warm welcome to leaders from public and independent high schools. If you are here, please stand. Thank you. And please welcome the 8 local NAACP chapters. Your advocacy and dedication are deeply appreciated. Please stand at this time. Wow, thank you. Finally, let us acknowledge the students in attendance tonight. Dr. Sarah Lewis, our keynote speaker, who I got a chance to meet earlier, will be inspired to see the next generation preparing to carry the mantle of leadership and to be carriers of their history and ancestry. Any students, please stand so we may applaud you as well. Thank you. We'd like to give a heartfelt thank you to our host, the City of Virginia Beach, and our signature sponsor, Dollar Tree Family Dollar. Let us show our appreciation with a round of applause for them as well. Of course, as you know, it takes a lot to put on an event with 1,302 people. So we could not move forward without thanking everyone that had something to do with putting together this evening. Our sponsors, our partners, our attendees. Please give everyone from the person who is delivering your food to the person that welcomed you a round of applause. At this time, I'd like to welcome the Honorary Bobby Scott, the Honorable Bobby Scott, Congressman, followed by Senator Tim Kaine, who have prepared video greetings. Please look at your screens.
Good evening. I'm Congressman Bobby Scott, bringing you greetings at the 41st Annual MLK Awards Dinner hosted by the Urban League of Hampton Roads. This event marks Martin Luther King Jr. Day. This federal holiday is traditionally a day of service as we celebrate Dr. King's life and legacy of advancing civil rights in employment, healthcare, housing, and voting, and of course education. More than 56 years after the tragic loss of Dr. King, his causes remain our causes today. This work is not always easy, and it's especially true as we look forward to the future. But thanks to the partnerships of great organizations like the Urban League of Hampton Roads, we can engage our local community through service and education and continue our work towards creating the beloved community of Dr. King's famous dream. So let us roll up our sleeves and continue our work together. Thank you.
Hey everybody, Senator Tim Kaine here, coming to you from my Senate office in the Russell Building. Just wanting to offer my congratulations to the Urban League of Hampton Roads, and especially to the recipients of the Martin Luther King Community Leader Awards. It makes me feel like an old guy, a seasoned guy, to look at the list of awardees and realize that I know 4 of the awardees personally and have gotten to meet them and work with them over the years, even though I live in Richmond. But it's because the Urban League of Hampton Roads works on priorities that are so important, not only to folks in Hampton Roads, but all over the Commonwealth and all over the country. Empowering folks to make sure that they can have access to economic opportunity, working on civil rights and community building. This has been what the Urban League of Hampton Roads has done since your chapter was formed in 1978, and what the organization itself has done for decades and decades. I've been very proud, first as a city councilman and mayor of Richmond, and then as governor, now senator, work with Urban League chapters around Virginia and all across the nation. And I celebrate the accomplishments of the leaders that you're recognizing tonight, and look forward to doing a lot more good work together. Lord knows we need it in the Commonwealth and the country, and the Urban League is needed now more than ever. So my congratulations to you, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful event.
Please welcome to the stage the Honorable Bobby Dyer, Mayor of the City of Virginia Beach.
Good evening, everyone. How are we doing today? What an honor to be among you today. And on behalf of the City Council and our city staff of Virginia Beach, we welcome you. We celebrate with you. And I just want to extend sincere thanks to Gil Bland and the Urban League for putting this on. And let me say what it's like being up here, looking among you and seeing a beautiful mosaic of people from all different races, religions, part of our great community, honoring a man whose legacy continues today and has profound impact on our society yet today. If I can harken back to 1968, on May 1st, I went to Paris Island, but a short few time after Martin Luther King was tragically taken from us. And after I came back after 9 weeks and came back into society, I can tell you there was a change. There was a change with people. There was a sadness. There was a recognition of what we must do. And that journey continues today. And let me just say, can we imagine if Martin Luther King did not live? Can we imagine what the world would be like, our country, our community, if Martin Luther King did not do what he did and pay the ultimate sacrifice? I think the best way to honor Martin Luther King is not only to honor him and emulate him on one day, but we make this part of our culture in this great country. That we get together and say, nothing can divide us. We must unite and find out what we have in common. And in that way, we will honor Martin Luther King in perpetuity. Thank you all. God bless you and welcome.
Thank you, Mayor. Now it's my pleasure to introduce Mr. Gil Bland, President and CEO of the Urban League of Hampton Roads. But first, let me tell you a little bit about him. He is the recipient of numerous awards and community recognitions. He serves on several boards, including Centera Healthcare, Norfolk State University, Randolph-Macon College. Recently, Mr. Bland was reappointed by the Governor of Virginia's Museum of Fine Arts Board, and he's one of the nation's finest museums. Mr. Bland is the founder and inaugural chair of the statewide Virginia African American Advisory Board, and he has received the Darden Civic Award, our region's highest recognition for civic service. He is also the former chair of the State Council of Higher Education for Virginia and a former board member for Old Dominion University. For 10 years, Mr. Bland has been named one of Virginia's Business Magazine's 50 most influential Virginians. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Gil Bland.
Good evening and greetings. To all of our friends, supporters, our honorees, all of my brothers and sisters who joined us in this movement to improve the quality of life for all of our fellow citizens. Tonight, we gather to celebrate the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King, a man whose vision of equality and freedom continues to guide our steps. Dr. King taught us that change is possible when courage meets conviction and justice meets action. His dream was not just a vision or aspiration, but indeed a call to action. Dr. King's dream serves as a daily reminder to each of us that the fight for justice requires continued courage, compassion, and collective effort. His words, "Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere," resonates deeply today as we navigate many challenges of our times. This is a call that each of us have answered in our own individual ways. Tonight, we also have the privilege of recognizing extraordinary individuals who embody Dr. King's ideals. These awardees have taken his dreams and brought it to life in their communities through their service, advocacy, and their relentless pursuit of equity and fairness. They remind us that change begins with each of us, that by lifting our voices, extending our hands, and working together, we can create a world that reflects the dignity and worth of every person. But tonight, let us not only reflect on Dr. King's legacy, let us also examine how far we have come and what we still have along the road to travel. For the dream Dr. King spoke of is still unfinished, and our mission as we, the Urban League, is as vital as ever. In housing, for example, we fight tirelessly to dismantle the barriers of systemic redlining, discriminating practices that lock far too many families out of stable, affordable homes. We have helped thousands secure safe housing and financing. Yet, we know that far too many still face evictions, substandard living conditions, and unequal access to home ownership. Housing is a human right, and our work will not stop until every family has a place to call home. In health, we have advocated for fair access to care, addressing the disparities that persist in some of our medical systems, from fighting for better maternal care for Black women to ensuring underserved communities have access to preventative services. We are making strides. Yet again, the fight is not over until zip codes no longer decides their life expectancy. In education, another key pillar, we have championed the idea that every child deserves a quality education, no matter their race or economic background. We have worked to close the achievement gaps with tutoring and mentorship programs. We advocate at the state level of Virginia to help ensure that schools are funded equitably. But we cannot rest, and we will not rest until every child has the resources, mentorship, and opportunities they need to achieve their fullest potential and help us all build the workforce of the future. Related to workforce, our efforts have opened doors for countless people who were once denied jobs due to systemic discrimination. We work with returning citizens to help them re-enter the workforce. We advocate for equal pay, fight for fair hiring practices, and advocate to promote diversity in every industry. Yet, wage gaps and unequal opportunities persist. It is our duty to ensure that the dignity of work involves and includes the dignity of fairness. Finally, in addressing the enormous wealth gap, our goals are to dismantle any structure that perpetuate economic inequality, from promoting Black entrepreneurship to securing access to loans and financial education. We are breaking generational cycles of poverty in this regard. But until wealth is no longer a privilege of the few, but an opportunity for the many, our mission continues. So as we reflect on Dr. King's legacy and the contributions of our awardees, let us recommit ourselves to this vision. Let this moment not only be a celebration, but a reminder of our shared responsibility to continue to work, to confront injustice, to build bridges of understanding, and to strive for a future where equality is not just an ideal, but reality. I quote Dr. King, "The arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends toward justice. Indeed, but that arc does not bend on its own. It bends because of hands like yours and mine, hands that refuse to let injustice stand." Your presence tonight encourages us and encourages me that many of you share our vision and goals. So let us remember that not only do we stand on the shoulders of giants, but we also must be the shoulders for the next generation. We are the ones we've been waiting for. Thank you.
Bring it down a little bit. He's a tall man. Thank you so much for those inspirational words, Kim. I'd like to draw your attention to our screens at this time. We have to present the first of our MLK Leader Awards to Jeremy Bridges, President, Hampton Roads Shipping Association. Each awardee is profiled in our souvenir booklet, but take a look at the screen.
I'm Jeremy Bridges. I'm the President and Chief Negotiator for the Hampton Roads Shipping Association. Growing up here in the area, was very familiar with the shipping industry and the port business, obviously a big part of the community and the economy here in Hampton Roads. But had you asked me 25 years ago, would I be here today? Of course, that would have been a goal, but early in my career, I didn't really see that path.
First thing is this, his expertise, his hard work and his motivation. I've seen that in him, and I have a great deal of respect for it.
He is such a good representative to work with the labor and on behalf of the broader port, because he has a depth of experience, but he also brings a very strategic mindset to not only the work that he does specifically in the space of labor relations, but in terms of the port overall.
One of my main focuses when I'm leading a team is to make sure that I'm setting up the people on the team to be successful and to ultimately be able to do my job.
He is involved right now with all of our programs, but it's just his motivation, and when you listen to him speak, he speaks with experience. That's the greatest thing about it.
So what I have come to recognize, observe, and to really appreciate in Jeremy is his thoughtful leadership.
I mean, honestly, I'm very active in my neighborhood, in my gym community. Thankfully, through my professional endeavors, we do a lot of charitable work. We give back to the community quite a lot, and I'm very fortunate to have that opportunity. Obviously, Dr. King's legacy is one that we all are aspiring to. I mean, this is a great honor. I'm being recognized, but I couldn't do this alone. This is about all of us that work together, and this is really just the culmination of all of that. It's a recognition to all of the hard work that we've done as a community, as a shipping industry community, and I'm just truly thankful and grateful.
Please welcome Jeremy Bridges, and we thank you for your exceptional leadership. Congratulations. Thank you. We will now recognize the awardees for our Housing Award, the City of Norfolk and Mayor Kenneth Alexander, and Urban Strategies, and Donovan Duncan. Please look at the screen.
I'm Kenneth Cooper Alexander. I'm the mayor of the City of Norfolk.
My name is Donovan Duncan, and I work for Urban Strategy, which as the Executive Vice President and Chief Operating Officer.
The St. Paul's Quadrant is a transformational project here in the City of Norfolk. It's deconcentrating poverty. It's addressing inadequate infrastructure. But more importantly, it's updating housing.
The place really matters, right? And the most precious gem of a particular place, a neighborhood, a community, a development are the individuals who live there.
I first learned about People First from them kind of doing a door-to-door and explained that it was a relocation process going on.
So if you look at systemic issues and systemic challenges, those challenges are embedded in social determinants, housing, healthcare, education. The City of Norfolk took the approach of listening, engaging, community engagement. We personally went out into the community and engaged with the residents.
It's hard to get people to believe in transformation and transition and opportunity and employment and systems that have, in many ways, at least in our conversations with individuals, they believe those systems have failed them.
I would say People First made it easier to relocate. Things that I was concerned about, they helped me through it. I think without the program, I probably would be staying with a family member. With them helping, I was able to maintain and still be in my rental property. It made me feel great. It make you feel like you have someone that you can call on and that you're not just out to dry on your own.
We have provided opportunity for individuals and families to strengthen their trajectory and a very positive outlook. This is a model by putting people first. It was never about the brick and mortar. It was never about the buildings. It was never about the infrastructure. For Norfolk, it was always about the people. How do we empower? How do we uplift? How do we inspire our residents, our neighbors? And we did it with them. They were always at the center of this transformation.
Thank you for your leadership, the City of Norfolk Mayor Kenneth Alexander, Urban Strategies, and Donovan Duncan. Congratulations. We now welcome to the stage Reverend R. Perez Gatling for the invocation. He will now take, and after that take a short break for dinner. Reverend Gatlin.
Good evening, everyone. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we come before you tonight with hearts full of gratitude for this gathering of dedicated individuals who've given so much to uplift our community. Thank you for bringing us together to honor the leaders whose passion, service, and vision have made a lasting impact on the lives of so many. We ask your blessing upon this evening, Lord. May it be filled with joy, inspiration, and encouragement. May this celebration serve as a reminder of the fact that with vision, passion, collaboration, cooperation, and Christ, all things are possible. Bless the leaders we honor tonight. Continue to guide them with wisdom, strengthen them with courage, and fill them with hope as they carry out their work. May they always find fulfillment in their efforts, and may they always feel the love and appreciation of those they serve. And Lord, may they continue the work even if they don't feel the love. We also pray, Lord, for our community, our city, our nation, our state, our world as a whole. Unite us in purpose, deepen our bonds, and help us to work together in harmony to build a brighter future for ourselves and our posterity. And now, Lord, we pray that you will bless this food that we're about to receive. May it nourish and strengthen our bodies. In Jesus' name we pray. And everybody gathered said, amen. Hold about, you really didn't say it. And everybody who gathered said, amen.
Please enjoy your meal and enjoy some music of Rajaz.
So even though we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up, live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will they be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream. dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up, live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all
vitamin C pills, juice from 1 carrot, blended for 3 minutes and then drink.
The icon? One of DMV's finest. He's up on the wall. Only the best gets up, folks.
What's going on?
Attempted robbery. 2 hood kids came in.
You got problems?
No.
Want to talk about them?
No, I don't want to talk.
Let me guess.
$1.
How could you possibly know that?
On the one hand,
Hi, is this the foreman's?
You know, I'm sorry.
Got any extra beauty samples for some of the ugly brothers up in here?
No, but I got a swift butt.
No, it's not.
I'm sorry, I didn't
Just be careful next time.
Sure. But what they use that for anyway?
On all of you. Don't listen to them. Like your man's here. Focus on those books.
Courtesy of Air Master Fans, the ceiling fan of your dreams.
Thank you so much.
Take
Voice the voice, back in the house. There he is, my man.
So we're trapped.
Well, I'm not saying that. It's just that it's just a little weird.
Rick, I'm not,
Wow, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm real sorry. I didn't.
It's okay.
Just never know what you're gonna find out here in the alley, that's all.
Oh. Nice forehand.
Oh. Come on, you're following the wrong man.
You're downtown Brown, right?
I know who I am. Who might you be?
I will now outline the Camp Wackadoo point system. Points will be given out each stage. Boys side.
Hello, Mr. Wizard.
what is the project that's got everybody so darn worked up? First, simply, we have opened a sex...
Especially by someone who knows how to use one.
What are you getting at? The guy's an antique too.
And his name keeps turning up in the police reports. I've been on the force 15 years. I know when somebody's trying to hide something.
For just the right dress.
Right, when they covered everything but my head.
She's beautiful.
Ooh, I love it.
Says she saw. I told you to stay out of this, Hamlet.
16 vitamin C pills, juice from 1 carrot, blend it for 3 minutes and then drink it.
The icon? One of DMB's finest. He's up on the wall. Only the best gets up.
What's going on? Attempted robbery. 2 hood kids came in.
You got problems?
No.
Want to talk about them?
No, I don't want to talk.
Let me guess. Yeah.
There's one dollar.
How could you possibly know that?
On the one hand.
Hi, is this the foreman's?
You know, I'm sorry.
Got any extra beauty samples for some of the ugly brothers up in here?
No, but I got a swift butt.
No, it's not.
I'm sorry, I didn't realize.
Just be careful next time.
Sure. But what they use that for anyway?
On all of you. Don't listen to them. Like your man's here. Focus on those books.
Courtesy of Airmaster Fans, the ceiling fan of your dreams.
Thank you so much.
Take Chloe!
Hey, Henry.
Voice the voice, back in the house. There he is, my man.
So we're trapped.
Well, I'm not saying that. It's just that it's just a little weird.
Rick, I'm not,
Wow, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm real sorry. I didn't.
It's okay.
Just never know what you're going to find out here in the alley, that's all.
Oh.
Nice forehand. Oh. Come on, you're following the wrong man.
You're downtown Brown, right?
I know who I am. Who might you be?
I will now outline the Camp Wackadoo point system. Points will be given out each stage. Boys' side.
Hello, Mr. Wizard. Well, hang on. Let me find out. Your name, dear, is?
Monica.
Mr. Wizard? Look, all over town there are armed robberies, stabbing, mugging, husband and wives are shooting each other with guns. Tis the season to be jolly.
Whoa. I did well with the ladies that night. They probably thought I was Jimi Hendrix. I told them I was Jimi Hendrix.
Took it off, polishing. Things been a little slow around here. Then again, since I caught the bandit. Oh.
I'm Richard Wright.
Ah, the antique dealer. Your name comes up a lot down here.
Talent show judges aren't going to know what hit them.
Sorry. Maybe we need a little more practice.
I know the difference between a phone and a fax. Fax is where the paper comes out. Right?
Right.
Set for it.
And what is the project that's got everybody so darn worked up? First, simply, we have opened a sex,
Especially by someone who knows how to use one.
What are you getting at? The guy's an antique dealer.
And his name keeps turning up in the police reports. I've been on the force 15 years. I know when somebody's trying to hide something.
For just the right dress.
Right, one that covers everything but my head.
She's beautiful.
Ooh, I love it.
again, y'all show some love for Miss Ahisha Johnson. Keep this thing going. Y'all show some love for Miss Trista Steele.
take care of. I do want to acknowledge the table over here on my right. I'd like to give a shout out to James Madison University Dukes. Hello, James Madison. Thank you so much for coming and representing tonight. Also, let's give it up for our servers who made sure that we got our dessert and our coffee and all of those things. Give it up for our servers. Thank you so much. I also want to encourage you to stay in touch with the Urban League. There are contact cards that are actually on your table. Please complete one to stay up to date on everything that's going on with the Urban League, and so you can continue to support and impact the Urban League, and they can impact us as well. Now I'd like to turn your attention to our monitors because we have a year in review for the Hampton Roads Urban League.
And I'm David Clanton.
And we are both support services here at Bayside High School. We co-lead the Bayside Minority Achievement Club, and it is sponsored by the Urban League. Some of the impact that it's had for our students is giving us more exposure to college and career readiness.
And it has afforded opportunities for our students to collaborate with other schools and other students and see what those other students are doing in an effort for their college and career readiness.
Wow. 2024 was a very busy year and having a wonderful impact on our community. The Urban League was doing that all year long. We now want to turn back to our award ceremony, and our MLK awardee for finance is Victor Branch, Senior Vice President, Bank of America, and President of the Richmond, Virginia Bank of America region. Look at the screens, please.
My name is Victor Branch, and I serve as the Richmond Region President for Bank of America.
Victor Branch is really one of the nicest people that I've ever met.
So Victor, I mean, first off, if you've ever met, you'll know if you've met Victor.
I'm a big fan of his. He makes me feel good when I'm around him. He's just one of those all-around good people.
MLK had a quote, and it was, "Faith is taking the first step, even if you don't see the whole staircase." He lives and breathes that.
I stumbled into banking. When I graduated from William & Mary in 1984, I needed a job. I found my niche in the retail side of the bank, and I said, I'll be here maybe 5 years. 5 years turned into 10, 20, and here it is. In June, I'll be celebrating my 41st anniversary with the company.
He is not only has the personality and the behavior just to be infectious, just that smile, that just individuality. But when he's out there, he lives and breathes the value of importance of bringing those resources and tools to the individual he's working with.
I stand on the shoulder of giants. I have this amazing portrait of Dr. Martin Luther King in my office, and it is a really lifelike portrait of him. And every day I come into office, I get to see him, and it reminds me and it grounds me as to where I come from and who paved the way for me.
Even before he was a member of the board here at Virginia State, he was active in and around Virginia State University. And so that's what speaks volume. He doesn't do the work because he's a member of an organization. He doesn't join the board because he wants a position. He's already active. And so him joining a board or doing different volunteer work, it's a part of what he does. It's part of who he is.
He is the epitome of a Southern gentleman. I don't think anyone out there could look towards a better colleague to sit back and say, I aspire to be like him. I think Victor really exemplifies what it is to do what we do as market executives across the Bank of America platform, not only for me, but for many of my colleagues across the country.
Everyone has a chance to succeed. God evenly distributes talent. It's where the opportunity and the talent match up that we see the success take place. That's why we support such a great organization as the Urban League.
Congratulations, Victor Branch. Thank you, Victor, for your empathy for building the wealth of our communities and our citizens. Our next awardee is presented to Dr. Scott Miller, President of Virginia Wesleyan University.
Scott D. Miller, and I'm president of Virginia Wesleyan University in Virginia Beach. You know, when I came to Virginia Wesleyan in 2015, I was turned on to not just the location of the institution, but the opportunities that it posed for me to make a difference.
A lot of leaders lead with words, but not with action. But in him, I see someone
who's pushing things to be better, but not better just for the entitled and the privileged, but to be better for everyone.
My philosophy of higher education administration has been that it's the president's responsibility to create change in society.
You know, I just keep getting back to, you know, here's a guy that wakes up in the morning and is walking this campus before light, just to look around, see what's going on, what needs to be done, what's looking good. He works from before light and after light. I've never seen anybody with the energy and the commitment, not only to this university, but to the surrounding community, that he's made a change.
When Scott Miller arrived in 2015, Virginia Wesleyan was a small, conventional Virginia liberal arts college. 10 years later, it is a nationally recognized liberal arts university, regional liberal arts university that has been described as eclectic, arty, liberal, diverse, and inclusive.
Dr. King once said that in the end, we won't remember the evil words of the bad people. We'll remember the silence of the good people.
I think of the late, great baseball player Roberto Clemente, who said, "I want to be remembered as someone who gave all they had to give." I want my legacy to be that every day that I have served as president of Virginia Wesleyan, I'm thinking about how my institution, how my faculty and staff, and how our students are making a difference in this community and beyond for years far beyond my tenure as president. That's my hope for my time as president of Virginia Wesleyan.
Congratulations, Dr. Miller. Thank you for your leadership, Dr. Miller. We are very fortunate to have a signature sponsor who began locally and has grown into a Fortune 500 enterprise, Dollar Tree Family Dollar. To bring greetings, please welcome Michael Creedon, Chief Operating Officer and Executive Vice President. As he's coming to the stage, I want to tell you a little bit about him. He is the Chief Executive Officer, and he became in that position in December of 2024. He joined Dollar Tree. Oh, you're here. I didn't know you were here. No pressure. Okay, I'm not going to read it fast. I'm going to take my time. Did you know that you became head of Dollar Tree in 2024 as Chief Operating Officer in October of 2022 with accountability for store operations, real estate, and procurement? In February of 2024, your role was expanded to include oversight of Dollar Tree and Family Dollar merchandising and supply chain for end-to-end accountability of delivering a best-in-class store experience from our associates and the customers they serve. I am a customer of Dollar Tree. Before Dollar Tree in 2023 to 2022, Mike was with Advanced Auto Parts, and before that, he was with Sensormatic, and before that, that was a division of Tyco International, and prior to his role with Sensormatic, he served in multiple leadership roles with Tyco International and ADT Security, another division of Tyco. He is already here. Mr. Creedon.
Thank you so much. Appreciate the warm welcome and the great introduction. It is truly an honor to be representing Family Dollar and Dollar Tree. And Gil, thank you for allowing us to sponsor this great event. I say thank you because you see the names that'll go flashing by on the screen. Every single one of those companies would get in line to be the presenting sponsor. And the Urban League knows that Family Dollar and Dollar Tree are its best partner for this. We have a very similar mission. We both serve a community. We're both needed by that community now than ever. And so it is truly my honor, not just as the CEO of Dollar Tree and Family Dollar and our 208,000 employees, our 16,000 stores, our 25 distribution centers, and our beautiful headquarters right down the road in Chesapeake over there, but also as a son of a judge and a school teacher who knew the power of serving the community and really understood Dr. King's message and his legacy. And so when we come together annually to celebrate Dr. King, it is an absolutely humbling experience. I grew up going to breakfast on MLK Day. Like I said, my dad was a local politician, and that's what you did. He was elected the year I was born and served for 22 years before serving as a judge for 20 years. And so we would go to these breakfasts, and you'd always hear a speaker like me or somebody else or the ones you've heard, and they always had a quote. And I always thought it was interesting. As I got to know Dr. King as I grew up, they always quoted him. And I was always kind of like, well, isn't that cheating? Like, don't they have their own things to say? And then you realize that no one can say it better. I mean, tonight's theme is the power of words. And Dr. King's words are the most powerful, and no one can say it better. And so I too have a quote that I love. It's a little bit lesser known, so maybe I get some points for that, I don't know. But he said when he received the Nobel Peace Prize in Oslo in 1964, he said, "I have the audacity to believe that people everywhere can have 3 meals a day for their bodies, education and culture for their minds, and dignity, equality, and freedom for their spirits. I believe that what self-centered men have torn down, men other-centered can build up." And that is really the mission that we have at Dollar Tree and Family Dollar. It is absolutely the heart of the mission of the Urban League. Building up. Building up is the key. And so as I look, I think Dr. King would be proud of the progress on his dream. Since 1963, earlier than that, he'd be proud of where we have come, but he would absolutely realize there is more building up to do. When you have a dream, if you accomplish your dream, dream again. Keep dreaming. Keep building up. Keep moving forward. And that's what all of us have to do. So no matter where I am and I finish a meeting in a distribution center or our headquarters or our store, I always say thank you, and. My team gets really used to it. So thank you. Thank you to the award recipients tonight. Thank you to this beautiful program, to the band, to all the wonderful people here that have taken their time to come and join us. And don't stop building up. Don't stop dreaming. Keep moving us forward, because I would argue our country needs us now more than ever. They need us to keep dreaming and to keep building up and to keep moving forward. Thank you so much. Have a great night.
Thank you, Mr. Creedon, for those words. And now it is my pleasure to introduce the Honorable Lisa Hicks Thomas. And she is the Senior Policy Director of Dominion Energy. Ms. Hicks Thomas is the former Secretary of Administration for the Commonwealth of Virginia. Nice note, she's also my back, meaning she's number 11. I was number 2 for Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. Lisa, where are you? Okay, please welcome my soror, Lisa Hicks Thomas.
Dr. Sarah Lewis, we thrive not when we've done it all, but when we still have more to do. Good evening, everyone. I'm Lisa Hicks Thomas with Dominion Energy, and I'm so honored to be able to introduce tonight's keynote speaker, who always finds more to do, celebrating the journey along the way. Elizabeth Lewis is an associate professor of African and African American Studies at Harvard University and the founder of Vision and Justice, an initiative to educate the public about the importance of art and culture for equity and justice. Her research focuses on the intersection of visual representation, racial justice, and democracy in the United States from the 19th century through the present. Professor Lewis has held curatorial positions at the Museum of Modern Art in New York and at the Tate Modern in London. She also taught at Yale University School of Art. Her book, The Rise, Creativity, The Gift of Failure, and the Search for Mastery, has been translated into 7 languages. Her other groundbreaking publications include Carrie Mae Weems, which explored the work of American artist Carrie Mae Weems, winning the 2021 Photography Network Book Prize. Dr. Lewis's newest book, The Unseen Truth, was published by the Harvard University Press just last year. Our outstanding MLK speaker last year, Dr. Clint Smith, described The Unseen Truth as a book that has changed the way I look at history. It has changed the way I observe the world. Renowned author and PBS presenter Dr. Henry Skip Gates added, "It isn't just a groundbreaking work of visionary scholarship, it's an earthquake." Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming our speaker, Sarah Lewis.
Good evening. I have so been looking forward to coming back to Virginia. Thank you for the honor of the invitation, Gilbert Bland, all those who've made this evening possible. Thank you for the extraordinary introduction, which leaves out all the failures that made me possible, that make all of us possible. I say it's good to come back to Virginia because I am really of this soil. The question I want to speak about tonight, briefly, as I've been told, is what defines the narratives about who counts and who belongs in American society? This is really the question that any Martin Luther King Day gathering forces us to address. And it's a question that emerged for me through the work of a man who is of this soil in Virginia as well. And I'd like to thank him before continuing. And to do so, I'll tell you a story about how he arrived at that central question. He was in high school, in the 11th grade, in New York City before coming to Virginia. And this young man just had one question for his history teacher. They were receiving textbooks that in that year of 1926 just presented excellence in the world one way. He wanted to know where African Americans were, Asian Americans were, Latinos were, Native Americans were, and the answer his teacher gave him was that African Americans had done nothing to merit inclusion in those textbooks. He didn't accept that as an answer. He asked the question again, and he was expelled from high school from his so-called impertinence. That man was my grandfather. He became an extraordinary artist, and I'll ask for the slides in a second here. My grandfather, who you can see in this image because we have the same large forehead, you can tell who he is, became an artist and a jazz musician, playing backup for Count Basie and Duke Ellington. But I didn't know until I was a sophomore in college why my grandfather didn't have a high school degree. You see, his pride was too wounded. He never went back. but he understood in those images he created that he was defining the narrative of belonging in American society that he should have been able to find in those textbooks. His name was Shadrach Emanuel Lee. My name is Sarah Elizabeth Lewis, far less cool than his, but the initials S-E-L are meant to honor him. And it is a testament that I can stand here 2 generations later, invited to speak about the very topics my grandfather was expelled for asking about. It is a testimony to what can happen in this country. It's a testimony to the central cornerstone of the work of the Urban League, which is to ensure that education empowers us. And it is really why I am here today as a proud granddaughter of Virginia. He is buried in Matthews, Virginia, and I am going to go to his gravesite tomorrow morning. What unites everyone in this room is what my grandfather was committed to understanding. What is the vision of the possible that allowed you to be here in the room today? What defined it? Was it the work of law alone? Was it the work of economic empowerment alone? Was it the work of culture, perhaps, too? That's what I want to talk about today. On my way here, I was thinking about the last time I spoke to a crowd that was as diverse as this in terms of its background, and I began to think about the invitation I received from the late Congressman John Lewis. As a note to anyone who is under 40 in the audience and doesn't check their voicemail, check your voicemail, because that's when I received the invitation from John Lewis to come speak at what would become the penultimate Selma to Montgomery March in 2019. He had learned about the Vision and Justice Initiative that I founded and wanted to speak in front of his colleagues about not solely the legal work that they were doing together, but the power and force of culture. To begin the conversation, we set out to show a video that I'll share with you in just a minute, but let me just make sure everyone in the room understands what King and Lewis were doing that day that allowed us to be here together. They were honoring the Selma journey that began on Sunday, March 7th, 1965, when Lewis, just 25 years old and chairman of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, was severely beaten and nearly killed by state troopers as he led 600 peaceful protesters in a march that culminated at a church in Selma and was forcibly intercepted by police on the Edmund Pettus Bridge, named after the Grand Dragon of the KKK. During the month of what culminated in a roughly 50-mile protest, the path of America changed. Let me quantify this. Numbers can turn the abstract into the concrete. At the time, Black Americans made up more than half of the population of Selma's Dallas County, yet violently enforced voter suppression meant that only 2% of Black Americans in that county managed to make it through the registration process to exercise this legal right. As my colleague Henry Louis Gates Jr.'s research has found, this meant that John Lewis's great-great-grandfather could vote and did so after emancipation, but due to the backlash of Jim Crow rule, no one else in Lewis's family could do so for nearly 100 years. The coverage, the television footage, the photographs of the Selma protest in print as well galvanized the country and helped lead to the passage of the 1965 Voting Rights Act that summer. And it was only after the passage of that bill that Congressman Lewis and his parents could vote in Alabama. So as you can imagine, I expected he wouldn't want to talk with me about culture, but instead he did. He wanted his colleagues at the end of his life to fully grasp the importance of narrative work, the work of vision, the work of culture, the unfinished work of the civil rights movement. what is the true nature of how we arrive at justice in the United States? When we began to speak with his colleagues, we shared with them this short clip.
We hold these truths to be self-evident.
That all men
are created equal. That they are endowed by the Creator
with certain unalienable rights.
That among these are life,
liberty,
and the pursuit of happiness. We, therefore,
the representatives of the United States of America,
for the support of this declaration,
mutually pledge to each other
our lives,
our fortunes, and our sacred honor.
To be an ad for Ancestry, although they do deserve the credit for creating this clip that really shows us the portrait of our nation. It's based upon a painting John Trumbull created of the signing of the Declaration of Independence, which we know took place on June 28th when Thomas Jefferson presented the draft for the consideration, the Second Continental Congress. And in the clip, you're able to see the great-grandparents, grandchildren and cousins and so forth of their ancestors and nearly the precise position that they occupy in the painting. What is the journey between these two moments? How do we arrive at this collective group portrait? And why would this company use a painting as the template? At the time of the creation of the painting, this fledgling democracy defined citizenship one way, as being white, being male, and being able to hold property. Through the Naturalization Act, the United States became one of the first nations, if not the first, to define citizenship as an exclusionary concept structured by race. But law alone was not going to be enough to affect the kind of contestation that let us celebrate the work of Martin Luther King today. The rights of a democracy are many, but central among them is the right to be recognized, to be seen justly, and to count. There are many thinkers who've allowed us to understand the power of this idea. I want to share with you just a few. I learned about, years ago, the work that led to legal transformation that came from the power of the cultural transformation on the stage. A young boy named Charles Black Jr. in Austin, Texas, years after my grandfather was in high school in 1931, found himself just transfixed by the power of, you know who it is, Louis Armstrong, king of the trumpet. And in that moment, he understood that the segregation in the world around him was wrong, because there was genius coming out of the body of this black man, and man who the world had told him to denigrate. And a friend of his to his left uttered a racial epithet used about African Americans during the day and walked away. But Charles Black Jr. was sure that he was seeing genius and felt that a new path opened in front of him. He would go on, that young boy, to become one of the lawyers on the Supreme Court case, Brown v. Board of Education, that would work to outlaw segregation in the United States. And he would teach at Columbia and Yale University, and every year would hold an Armstrong listening night to honor the power of the man who shifted his sense of the possible, who gave him a new vision of who we could be. The work that leads to justice is often deeply private. It often comes in these moments when a work of culture often can get us to see what we don't know about ourselves, about each other. We all have a blind spot around our privileges shaped exactly like us. And the work of the arts is to get us to look around that, and Frederick Douglass knew it. he gave a speech that has now become bedrock for our understanding of what Frederick Douglass's contributions were to the United States. During the Civil War, he gave a speech entitled Pictures and Progress, in which he argued that it wasn't going to be force or combat that would transform our sense of who we could be as a people, but something as seemingly small and trifle-like as a picture. And his audience was truly confused. But he continued to redraft this speech multiple times over the course of his life, as I picture him doing in his study in Anacostia, in his final home. And he goes on to say at the end that it might take over 150 years for people to understand what he meant, but he understood that images were becoming weapons to limit our sense of who counts and belongs. He would have understood that images aren't only means to honor human life, but to transform who counts within it. He understood the weaponization of photography being used to dehumanize African Americans at the time, and he wouldn't stand it. He became the most photographed American man in the 19th century. Not African American man, American man. He understood the power of a representative figure, dignified, self-possessed, African American, too, then, for progress. He understood this new technology would be vital for our American health. The Vision and Justice Project is cohered around this understanding, and I'm proud to say at Harvard it's the second highest demand course in the core curriculum at the university, thinking through this intersection of race and culture and justice. And Douglass and these thinkers are bedrock for that understanding. But before I go, if you don't yet buy this argument that culture, that our vision of the possible is central for all the work we do, let's think of it in reverse. Now, just for a bit of levity, I'm going to share with you this transcript because it's a discovery, and we're here to celebrate the extraordinary life of Martin Luther King Jr. and failure as well. But I'm showing you here this transcript of his time in seminary, and for the benefit of those in the back, I'll explain. In a transcript of A's and B's, you see he did quite well. He did receive 2 C's in guess what class? Public speaking, I heard it on the left side there. Not once, but twice, he in fact got worse, and I wonder what happened to King when he received those grades and then went on to lead the nation with the power of his spoken truth. But there was an understanding of the needs for creative expression to give us a sense of the possible in that encounter with his teacher, which you can access when you look at the archives. But let's think of this in reverse. What does it mean that a lawyer who's argued in front of the Supreme Court many times, Bryan Stevenson, whose image you're seeing here, the co-founder of the Equal Justice Initiative, would dedicate a decade of his life to the arts, to creating a monument, the first of its kind in the United States, that honors the men, women, and children whose lives were taken unjustly through racial terror, through lynchings. If it doesn't matter, this work of culture or the arts, why would we have the erection of Confederate monuments on courthouse lawns and schoolyards, not after the Civil War, but during a period of Jim Crow rule? Why would it matter that these photographs were taken at the behest of the US government to document the internment of Japanese Americans after Pearl Harbor? If photographs didn't matter, why not let images like these circulate of citizens who were sent to internment camps for 3 years? Images such as, that's me, hello. This one. This image was impounded by the government, censored. Why? It shows the American dream, does it not? If we were in my seminar right now, I'd ask you to tell me exactly why it was censored. What does it show? Well, all the trappings of the aspirational life were promised here, but with a template that at the time in 1942 wasn't part of that promise. many of whom in that image were in college, medical school, living extraordinary lives. If you opened up Life magazine, you would see the ways in which imagery, the very kind of images that Frederick Douglass spoke about, were being used to determine who was an enemy in the United States and who was therefore safe. If images don't matter, why did this image go viral in a way that made many stop and ask, what made their dreams possible? From the tenor of the room, I can tell many of you have seen this image and are reflecting back on it. It shows a young 5-year-old boy, Jacob Philadelphia, in the Oval Office with his parents and brother. And he's been given just one question to ask the president. You can imagine he had many, and what was his one question? Is my hair texture really the same as yours? The cropping, the angle, the stance of former White House photographer Pete Souza gives us a vantage point of an epiphany taking place. In that moment, you can see in that young Jacob Philadelphia the rounded Oval Office carpet, this radiant sun rhyming with that epiphany likely happening in him, that he too could be the commander-in-chief, that he too could be the president. But despite, as we know, the best efforts of his parents, you also have to ask, why did his dreams feel so precarious? What narratives had he been given that made him need to touch the evidence that his life could result in being in that Oval Office as the president? The narratives we live with and live without every day are costing us our dreams. We have to ask what we are seeing and why we are seeing it if we are to live out our dreams. Again, for a little bit of levity, I'll just share with you this in part before I close. This is also taken by Pete Souza. I'm not sure what it is about President Obama and children with these photographs, but they get me. And this is a photograph of a young 5-year-old coming with her parents to a Wounded Warriors event for veterans. You can see in the background the painting of Washington with a set of veterans, and in the foreground she stands wrapped with attention because she has been worried all day that she's going to get in trouble for missing a day of kindergarten for being at the White House. But we have in that line the sense of sacrifice that it took for her to maintain that innocence so she could know that her dreams were possible. At the end of Douglass's speech, he said it might take over 150 years for Americans to understand the power of culture for justice. I think back to what my grandfather understood that day in the 11th grade, what Charles Black Jr. understood and lived out as a lawyer on the Brown v. Board of Education case, what John Lewis endeavored for his colleagues to understand in the Selma to Montgomery March celebration, that the work of justice does not only require the extraordinary legal achievements that have been made, but that culture is the indispensable force for redefining the narratives of who counts and who belongs in the United States. Thank you. Thank you. Thank
you. Dr. Lewis, thank you for sharing. Thank you for teaching. Thank you for your inspiration. And we do have a memento for you.
get a copy of her book. Can I sign up for the class? All right, now we are headed into the final two awards of the evening. First, Dr. Alfred Abu Hamid, EVP of Macon and Joan Brock, Virginia Health Sciences at Old Dominion University, and Dean of Eastern Virginia Medical School at ODU. Please check out the screens.
My name is Alfred Abu Hamid. I'm the Executive Vice President at Macon and Joan Brock, Virginia Health Sciences at Old Dominion University. So EVMS as a medical school started more than 50 years ago by the community. Community leaders realized that there's a significant shortages in workforce in the region here.
Dr. Alfred Abu Hamid is an amazing leader. He's an outstanding person. He's a scholar. He's somebody who's truly committed himself to this community in ways that you could never even truly measure.
I would suggest we'd be very fortunate if Dr. Abu Hamid just keeps on doing what he's been doing. He's the best.
So from its inception and staying true to its mission, EVMS had really impacted the community in a big way.
But the one thing I will say about Dr. Abu Hamid is that he's instilled in us to care about this community. The community which he loves, he's been here for many decades. And when I came, the first thing that I learned from him was that this community comes first.
A lot of people say, you know, you're a good captain. You're a good captain. It's easy to be a good captain when the water is calm and there's no wind. But he was a good captain when the water was turbulent, the storm was heading, and the waves were crashing on the ship, and he was still a good leader. Dr. Abu Hamid is near and dear to me. You know why? He delivered my daughter. My daughter, who is a superstar at Harvard now, and I was in the room. So you're talking about somebody that's a leader under duress. I was in the room and he delivered her, did a magnificent job. So I have a personal link with him.
In bringing EVMS and ODU together, we needed the support of Sentara Health, in really supporting the integration of both institutions.
Our mission at Sentara is to improve health every day. Alfred helps us live that mission in the work that he does day in and day out, both leading EVMS and now the Health Sciences program at ODU, as well as the care that he delivers at the bedside.
Part of the Sentara support was a long-term affiliation agreement that provided for support for legacy EVMS schools to really create programs that benefit the health of the community. Have we not came together to create the Macon and Joan Brock Virginia Health Sciences together? EVMS as an independent medical school that doesn't own a hospital, is not part of a university, is not part of a health system, has a lot of headwinds into the future. And now we've secured the legacy of EVMS into the future, and really we need to work hard to start addressing a lot of the health disparities in our region.
Congratulations, Dr. Abu Hamid. Please welcome Mr. Gil Bland for the presentation of the E.L. Ham Lifetime Achievement Award.
Good evening again, and I noticed that we have a special guest that just arrived, Congressman Bobby Scott. Thank you for attending, Congressman. Tonight it's my privilege to present the E.L. Ham Lifetime Achievement Award to a true trailblazer, a pioneer in the entertainment world, and a global statesman who spreads love and support throughout the world, and particularly the continent of Africa. We have a friend to Virginia and the chair of the Senate Intelligence Committee to say a few words about his friend, Tim Reed. I introduce the Honorable Senator Mark Warner.
Hi, I'm Senator Mark Warner, and while I'm sorry I can't be with you this evening, I'm grateful to be able to say a few words to celebrate both the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and recognize the contributions of so many leaders in the Hampton Roads community. This is an evening that reminds us that we must all take inspiration from Dr. King's life. We must recommit ourselves to the causes that Martin Luther King Jr. dedicated his life to. Now, the Urban League honors Dr. King's legacy each day by providing services and educational programs in Hampton Roads. And that impact is felt throughout the Commonwealth. But tonight is also a time to honor individuals who've embodied the principles of Dr. King's legacy. That's why it's my honor to introduce the E.L. Ham Lifetime Achievement Award to Hampton Roads native Tim Reed. This is a double pleasure for me. Ed Ham, who this award is named after, was someone who worked with me when I was governor. He is an extraordinary, successful business guy. He's advised me as we tried to move the Commonwealth of Virginia to be more inclusive in terms of the actions of the state doing business with small and women and minority-owned contractors. And he is a real role model in so many ways. And to have an award named after my dear friend Ed Ham is such a great recognition. And tonight, by choosing Tim Reed for the Ed Ham Award, you are really picking another person that I've had the honor to know and work with literally now for 30 plus years. We all know Tim is an actor, a producer, a director, but he's also a father, a husband, and for those of us like me and many of you in this crowd who know him well, we know there's really no one who is more deserving of this honor. You know, for years, Tim and Daphne, his wonderful wife, have helped uplift underrepresented voices through his work. You know, we all know his on-screen contributions, both in television and movies. I think back to his original breakthroughs on WKRP in Cincinnati. I think about the activities of films that he has been involved in. I was proud to be, when I was still in the business community, a partner with Tim Reed on his minority-owned movie studio in Virginia. The truth is, Tim has always been about raising up voices, and his commitment to education, the arts, and social justice is unparalleled. You know, truth is, Tim, who's got a worldwide footprint, is still giving back to the Hampton Roads community. Truth is, whether it is his activities at Norfolk State for many years, whether it's his activities in the community, or again, the fact that he and his wife Daphne and my wife Lisa and I have spent so many times together and still continue to get together for good times and fellowship, it's a real benefit to me to have this relationship. Tim, congratulations. And to Ed Ham, I can't imagine someone that is more appropriate to receive an award in your name. Congratulations, and congratulations to the Urban League.
I want them to see a dreamer. I've been chasing dreams all my life, and there's not a dream that I felt was too big.
He's passionate about everything. He wakes up in the morning and he says, I have an idea.
He is my greatest inspiration. He is one of the greatest storytellers ever, and I don't think I'm saying that because I'm his daughter. He really is.
He's made a life mission to project us in a real and positive light, and a real light.
I didn't come out of high school as a star mental athlete. I didn't come out of school with the best of grades. There was no place for me to go other than some place that would take in consideration my character at that time and what my dreams were. Norfolk State was the only place that would give me a place to try and build. But they gave me a chance. I would not be here today had it not been for those years at Norfolk State. It was the only place I could go.
So he's always been a rule breaker and a barrier pusher, right? So he did it in arts and entertainment. That mindset and that approach to life was impactful for me through my journey of education. So I earned a a doctorate in biochemistry and was the first African American at NC State to earn that in the history of the school. And so I felt like I was following the legacy and the guidance that he was showing us through his walk through life.
What I'm proud of. I'm just proud to have someone to show me the way to be true to myself, to be fearless. He just never lets anything stop him.
It's amazing when we go to visit different places and around a lot of people, generationally, people will come up to him and say, "You raised me." The images that he created, the characters that he played were helpful to bringing truth and integrity to some young folks who considered him their father.
He likes to work with the youth a lot. He's really strong in trying to get that next generation to even progress further than he has with some of the success as far as developing content and doing things, and not just settling for being in front of the camera, but being behind the camera, learning how to do it correctly.
If you hear the stories that he has, the battles that he had to fight just to get certain things on air, and the fights that he had to go through just to have us on camera and be able to have certain series and shows, a lot of people won't do that.
I mean, he's a vet. He's an icon, Hall of Famer. He's put in the work. His legacy, we can all say, is going to live forever.
I remember in a classroom at Norfolk State, something I'll never forget. Chapman, I think his name was. I had to take art appreciation. Of course, we didn't want to, but we had to graduate. We were all asleep. And he was going on showing us some of the great masterpieces of the world. And he got so angry, he said, "Listen, you have the nerve to sleep in my class? You better be dreaming. And I promise you, if you dream and look at these pieces of art, Venus de Milo, or whatever it is, Girl with a Pearl, I don't care what it is. If you dream enough, it'll take you to the very thing." And you know what? Every time I've stood in front of Michelangelo's David or these places on the location in which it happened throughout the world, I hear that man saying, "If you dream, your dreams will take you there." And that's how I've come to be where I am.
Now, let me introduce this year's E.L. Ham Lifetime Achievement recipient, my father, Tim Reed.
And I get to speak? You know what you're doing? I hope you all brought your jammies. No, I just want to say I have been so blessed in my life. And one of the greatest blessings, the greatest blessing that I have, is to have a loving family that you've seen on screen. They are the wind behind my sail. They see me at my worst, see me at my best, and they still love me. That's what drives me, and I was so taken by our speaker because that's been my whole dream, is to improve our culture, to take our culture to a place where it should be, to give honor to our ancestors. Last year we lost a lot of great ancestors, and they are now honoring us wherever they are with the wisdom that they left with us. I do want to thank Norfolk State. I want to thank Norfolk, Virginia, because we're not
born here. I grew up through turbulent times, born during World War II. They were battling in the Battle of the Bulge when I was battling trying to come out feet first. And we made it. But it was in the streets of Norfolk, Virginia, what was called Colored Town, where I met some amazing people, all kinds of people, all kinds of professions. I had never seen, really, for most of my life, television life, seen anybody who had grown up in my neighborhood. The characters that I saw on television, I didn't understand. And when I first got an opportunity to produce something, it's called Frank's Place. And thank you. And it was so different for the network that I got to meet the founder of television. His name was William Paley. He's gone now. But it was he who was given this box of could create images by the United States Army. And they told him, we don't know how to make money. The war is over. We use it for propaganda. But we don't know what to do with it. And he and a few other men created a thing that's going to surprise you by its name. It originally was called, or its purpose was, Tell a Vision. That was its purpose. So when I met William Paley, went into his office, and sat down, he told me he enjoyed the program, wished that he had had it when he was in charge. One question to ask you. I said, what is that, sir? What is your propaganda? Television asks you what your propaganda is. You take notice. And I just told him, as I watched television as a kid, I never saw any of the people that looked remotely like the people that were in my neighborhood. And I think I want you to meet them. I want you to meet my uncle. I want you to meet the owner of certain businesses, because they've never been on television. So that's why I'm here. And that's why I thank you for giving me this. That's my job now, and I will continue to do it till the day I die. Thank you very much.
Wow, such an inspiration. We love you, Tim. Well, I want to say congratulations to all of our awardees, and thank you so much for what you do and what you do in our community. One note, there is a red dot under each chair or each table. There's only one. And if you have the red dot under your chair, you get to take the centerpiece other than table 17. So please enjoy that. All right. I'd like to introduce my classmate, Clyde Clark, Chair of the Urban League of Hampton Roads Board of Trustees.
Thanks, April. My classmate, and Lisa is our classmate too at the University of Virginia, class of '91. Good evening. I'm Clyde Clark, Chair of the Urban League of Hampton Roads Board of Trustees. What a historic night and celebration. Thank you all for coming. As we close this historic celebration, I encourage us all to reflect on three things. The man today, we celebrated the legacy of Dr. King by recognizing 5 outstanding community leaders. We paid tribute to living legends like Mr. Ed Ham, Tim Reed, and I want to add 2 other people, Gil Bland and Tom Hasty. Those are great people. The movement. We heard from our keynote speaker, Dr. Sarah Lewis, who reminded us of the challenges we're here to face today. The movement. The Urban League of Hampton Roads continues to lead the efforts in education, health, housing, and employment, making a tangible impact every day. Thank you to our sponsors, our board of trustees, our supporters, and everyone who made this event possible. A special thanks to our Urban League team, led by Gil, and so immensely proud of our affiliates, the Urban League Guild, the young professionals. The Guild is led by Francine Humphrey, the young professionals by Patricia Gibson. And when he also expressed thanks to the YPs who are volunteered. This year we owe a debt of gratitude to our staff for their work, their hard work, in helping bring this program to fruition. Special thanks to Anita Carey and Candace Bryant. And for the past 2 years, our program could not have occurred so successfully without the leadership and the labor of Joyce Williams. Joyce, where are you? Stand up. That's Gil's wife. And on behalf of the Urban League, and she's a volunteer. On behalf of the Urban League Board, we thank each of you. Finally, as Dr. King said, if you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you have to keep moving forward. Let us keep moving forward together. Thank you all for joining us this evening. In conclusion, please join me in welcoming Dr. Courtney Macbeth for a closing prayer and benediction. Dr. Macbeth.
Well, the only thing more courageous than asking a pastor to have words when people are ready to go home is asking a retired pastor to have words. We're living in perilous days. The events over the next few days and weeks and months could potentially turn back much of the progress that we've seen in our country over recent years. If there has ever been a time for people like those who were awarded tonight, this is that time. And while we are so tempted to lift our voices against those who seem to promote violence and hatred, I want to say to you tonight that to shout at the darkness, no matter the decibel of your voice, does not change anything. I would say, rather than shout at the darkness, light your candle in the darkness and push it back for the marginalized, for the forgotten, for the hurting, for those who desperately need us. Now may the Lord bless you and keep you. May his face shine upon you and give you peace. Amen. Would you stand for the singing of our anthem?
Lift every voice and sing.
Thank you very much. Good night. I'll see you tomorrow morning on Channel 3 at 10 a.m., 9 a.m.